A very good evening and welcome to News First Primetime News here on MTV Sports. I'm Ramesh Irugal Bandara.
Hello there, and I'm Kaushi Vijaysekar. First up, let's look at your headlines tonight.
Water crisis affecting several sectors including agriculture. UNP charges that the rule of law has broken down. Parents clash during a demonstration in Pasiala. And in the world of sports, Rafael Nadal claims a record 7th French Open title.
The Ministry of Cooperatives and Internal Trade announced that the usage of plastic crates for the transportation of certain fruits and vegetables has been made mandatory from today. Secretary to the Ministry S. Sunil Sirisena stated that this law will be strictly enforced.
The use of crates in the transportation of fruits and vegetables was made mandatory for the first time on the 11th of December 2011. The main aim of this move was to reduce the wastage of produce. However, many parties expressed fierce opposition to this law. In the face of this opposition, the ministry decided to postpone enforcement of the law by a month. On the 13th of January this year, the Ministry of Internal Trade issued a gazette notification making it compulsory to use plastic crates for the transportation of 11 varieties of vegetables and 10 varieties of fruits. The specified items included tomatoes, carrots, salad leaves, spinach, cucumber, bell pepper and 5 other vegetables.
We hope to enforce the plastic crate law from Monday the 11th once again. The rule will only be enforced for 11 varieties of vegetables. The traders, farmers and transporters have agreed to use materials such as cardboard and wood-based materials when transporting these vegetables.
We toured the Manning Market in Colombo today to look into whether the words of the Secretary to the Ministry of Internal Trade were being put into action.
Most of the farmers haven't used plastic crates today as well. As usual, they have used gunny bags. We will lose our jobs if the goods are transported in plastic crates. The people do not like the plastic crates. They need about 4 crates to transport the goods transported in one sack. The Colombo Manning Market will accept produce delivered to us through any means, be it sacks or crates.
Meanwhile, vegetables which should have been transported using plastic crates were seen arriving in sacks as usual at the Dambulla Economic Centre.
Now, several comments were expressed on this story on our website www.newsfirst.lk. Here's a look at few of those comments. Atul Bandara from Kandy says, quote, "It is a good thing that this rule is being implemented. It would be better if the crates are subsidized," unquote. Meanwhile, Kamal Priyankar states, even though the rule is good, the implementation is wrong. Meanwhile, Anuradha says it is okay to introduce the crate rule, but they must also be aware of its difficulties if it is to be successful.
Now, it is said in local folklore that once a farmer washes away the mud on his body, he is even fit to be a king. However, many farmers today are in a desperate situation due to the lack of water. The most affected are the farmers who rely on the Mahavali River to irrigate their fields.
The water levels in the Victoria, Randanigala, Rantambe, Bovathanna, Kotmale and Polgolo reservoirs, which are all part of the Mahavali scheme, are decreasing at a rapid rate. These are visuals that we obtained today at each of these reservoirs. Here are the water levels in other reservoirs. Director General of the Mahavali Authority, Gamini Rajakaruna, stated that as a result of this, farmers who rely on water from the Mahavali scheme for farming activities are facing great difficulties. He reiterated that as a result of the decreasing water levels, the authority is primarily focusing on providing water for domestic and drinking purposes.
ජලාශවල පවතින ජල මට්ටම.
Due to the water levels of the reservoirs, it will be difficult for us to provide water to these areas. I request area residents to follow instructions issued by officials when using water from these reservoirs. If we receive rains in the Kotmale and Kandy areas, we will be able to release water for consumption. This is the state of farmlands in the Mahaweli Edge zone due to the lack of water. The water levels of the Kala River, which provides water to these farmlands, has seen a sharp decrease. According to the Vibha Province Director of Agriculture, 40,000 hectares of farmland in the Kurunegala district are likely to be destroyed due to the lack of water. Meanwhile, speaking to News First, the Polonnaruwa District Assistant Director of Agriculture stated that only 24,400 hectares of farmland were cultivated this season owing to the lack of water. The authorities had earlier planned to cultivate 34,750 hectares of farmland in Polonnaruwa this season. Irrigation Director of the Anuradhapura Zone, Lalit Dialvi, stated that the Department of Irrigation is facing a dilemma as water from the Tisa River, Nura River and Turuvila tanks is being used for drinking water purposes. He added that even with stringent management, the department will be able to provide water for drinking and agricultural purposes only till August. We attempted to contact Subject Minister Nimal Siripala de Silva to inquire about the steps being taken to mitigate the evolving situation. However, our efforts proved futile as the minister is currently overseas. With the authorities being unable to provide them with a solution, residents living on the western bank of the Kala River organized a Vasipiritha, hoping that at least the deities would provide them with some respite. Meanwhile, officials now state that they are also finding it difficult to provide water for drinking purposes.
ජල පෝෂක ප්‍රදේශවලට වර්ෂාව නොලැබීම නිසා තමයි.
Due to the lack of rainfall, rivers and reservoirs are drying up. So we will have to inquire from the Met Department to determine as to how long this weather would continue. There won't be any disruptions. The rivers can be diverted and the water can be used. We can obtain more water from reservoirs used for hydropower generation by requesting the Ministry of Power and the Mahaweli Authority.
අපි ලිමක් කරලා ජලය වැඩිපුර ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන්.
This is the situation at the Kasselria and Mausakale reservoirs, which come under the purview of the Ceylon Electricity Board. Meanwhile, Chairman of the CEB, Professor Vimal Dharma Abevikrama, stated that water levels at the Norton Bridge, Canyon, Lakshapana, Ukuvala, Rantabe, Bovatana and Upper Kotmale reservoirs are decreasing as well. The water levels of reservoirs are decreasing rapidly, so we are faced with several issues when generating hydropower. Only 20% of power is generated through hydropower. The balance is obtained through thermal power. So there may be minor disruptions considering the condition at thermal power plants. With low levels of water, we hope to generate electricity using thermal power in order to maintain an uninterrupted electricity supply as we have no other alternative. Dr. Ranjit Punyavardhan of the Agriculture Department, who specializes in analyzing weather patterns, shared these thoughts with News First. The main reason for this situation is climatic change. Global warming is the cause of this climatic change, and the reason for global warming is the emission of greenhouse gases. This may not lead towards a severe drought, but we need to pay serious attention towards this. Therefore, farmers should use water sparingly, as the possibility of rains in the near future is very low. Residents of the Mahaweli B zone carried out a demonstration today. This was to protest against the destruction being caused to the forest reserve situated beside the Bogas River by a certain group.
The protest was conducted in the Bogas River town in the Mahaweli B zone in Polonnaruwa. Area residents say that due to the destruction caused to the forest reserve, there is a risk of several environmental issues cropping up and their farmlands being harmed.
The water in this tank is a resource shared by all of us. Without this water, we cannot survive.
Rather than solving the issues faced by farmers as a solution to the water crisis, what they have done is cut down the trees in the forest reserve. We, the farming community, have been severely inconvenienced by the actions of the stupid politicians in this area. The protesters then proceeded towards the Bogasava reserve. Those who were felling trees in the reserve fled the area upon sighting the approaching protesters.
Well, President Mahinda Rajapaksa arrived at the Sugata Das Stadium in Colombo this afternoon to witness the 15th Asian Junior Athletic Championship. Minister of Sports Mahindananda Audgamage welcomed the President. The President then watched some of the events that took place. The presidential media unit stated that the President had congratulated the Sri Lankan athletes who won medals at the Asian Junior Athletics Championship.
The Ministry of Petroleum Industry states that if world crude oil prices decrease within the next 2 weeks, the government will consider passing on the benefit to the consumers. The ministry issued a media release in this regard in response to a statement made by JVP General Secretary Tilvin Silva that the government is not passing the benefit of decreasing world oil price to the public. The Ministry of Petroleum Industries notes that the government has no intention of depriving the general public from receiving the benefits of low world oil prices. The ministry also notes that 80% of the country's power is being generated using thermal energy. The release also noted that the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation has suffered a loss of over 17 billion rupees over the past 4 months as a result of providing fuel to the CEB at a concessionary rate.
In other local news, an unidentified gang carried out an armed robbery at a prominent store in Watupitiwala, Nittabur. The police say that the gang had made off with 400,000 rupees in cash.
Security cameras captured the gang entering the store. 4 gang members entered the store at around 8 p.m. last night. They were here for about 10 minutes. Since it was about 8:30, there was a large crowd in the town. They had firearms with them. They robbed the day's collection and fled. The owner of the store said that in addition to the cash, the thieves had also made off with several valuable items. The thieves had also stolen the personal belongings of some shoppers who were in the store. They took all the money from the cashier. They pointed the pistol at my son here and got everyone to kneel down and took a bracelet and a chain from someone. They smashed the phone on the ground and they took out the camera. They fled on 4 bikes, shooting behind them. They all had pistols. I saw 4 pistols. We gave chase. A brother in the front shop chased them in his car and knocked one of them over. There was a bicycle lying on Bandaranaike Road. There was a pistol there as well. The robbery was carried out by a gang that had arrived on 2 motorcycles. The police said that while the gang was fleeing, one of the motorcycles had met with an accident. They had then got onto another motorcycle in the vicinity and fled.